Donald Trump announces that he will withdraw the 2,000 American troops from Syria, but it appears that after his announcement, the US-led coalition in Syria continued on with their previous foreign policy. So, according to The Hill, the US-led military coalition announced airstrikes and coordinated attacks against ISIS in Syria days after Trump ordered the withdrawal of US troops from the country. So the attacks were actually carried out from December 16th to the 22nd in the Middle Euphrates River Valley. Okay. Also, keep in mind that we have allies who have assisted us in what's going on in Syria. So those allies might continue on with what they had previously planned. So for instance, the UK Major General Christopher Gahica says the following: ISIS presents a very real threat to the long-term stability in this region, and our mission remains the same, the enduring defeat of ISIS. So they're continuing on. And then there's the added layer of Israel's involvement, because the Israeli government has actually gotten more involved following Trump's announcement.
Anna, before we go to the Israel involvement, because I think the Israeli actions are a little different, although obviously related. I just want to say about the US-led military coalition, the bombing. They said after this that this was a, quote, significant blow to the terrorist group's ability to finance its activities. They claimed about taking out all these fighters, as Anna told you, and that they have, quote, severely degraded the group, which I'm always amused by that language. They degraded them, humiliated them, told them they were naughty boys. Anyway, but in terms of how they mean it, I know what they mean. Like, oh man, we messed them up, and they're now in really bad shape. They're severely degraded. But I've heard that dozens of times. So if I'm Trump, I ask the same question he asked. Wait, didn't you tell me you severely degraded them 38 times already? How badly can we degrade them? Okay, they're pretty humiliated. So the military-industrial complex never ever wants to withdraw. I don't know who ordered these. I don't know how the reality of how well these strikes went. Because no matter what strikes we do, they always come out and say, oh, we got them. They were all terrorists that we killed, and it was a fantastic mission. 2 weeks later, in page A17 of the paper, by the way, we hit the wrong place, and it didn't do anything, and that's why ISIS is still around. Well, which one is it, guys? I mean, I'm asking the military-industrial complex, have we severely degraded them 38 times over? Or are they still a significant threat and are monstrous and we need to stay in Syria forever for? Make up your mind. So
what's happening in Syria is very much a proxy war, something that we've talked about and outlined a lot on the show. And Israel is involved because Iran is involved. So Iran has influence in Syria, and so Israel sees that as a threat. And following Trump's announcement of withdrawing troops from Syria, Benjamin Netanyahu made a decision to act. And he did so through airstrikes near Damascus. And unfortunately, there were some civilians who could have lost their lives as a result of these missiles, or these airstrikes, I should say. But I want to give you a Reuters news report that kind of highlights and details exactly what happened. Take a look.
Israeli jets reportedly hitting targets near Damascus on Tuesday night. This video from Hezbollah purporting to show surface-to-air missiles fired in response. The nature of the targets unclear, though Syrian state media says an arms depot was damaged. The UK-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said the strikes hit bases used by Hezbollah or Iranian forces. No confirmation of the attacks from Israel, but the Israeli Defense Forces said they had responded to a missile fired from Syria. In the past, Israel's Air Force has struck scores of targets it says are connected to Iran or Lebanon's Iran-backed Hezbollah movement.
Now, Benjamin Netanyahu did release a statement saying, quote, I have said that we will not be deterred from doing what is necessary. President Trump's decision to withdraw the American soldiers from Syria will not change our policy. We are standing steadfast in our red lines in Syria and everywhere else.
Well, good luck with that. So Israel is launching strikes into a different sovereign country. And, I think the government of Syria is terrible. I don't support Bashar al-Assad, and I think he's a dictator, and I think that civil war has been disastrous. That doesn't mean that I support bombing that country. And so if Israel decides, hey, our policy is to bomb them, I know we're not ever going to say it in America, but isn't it fair to say, okay, well, then that's your problem, not my problem. We're looking to withdraw from Syria. You want to get involved deeper in Syria? Have at it, Hoss. But keep us out of it. But they're not going to. That's why I tell you this. If they get in any degree of trouble, I mean, they lose one Israeli soldier, they're going to come crying to us, and they're going to say, oh my God, now you got to come back in. And instead of 2,000 troops, you're going to have 20,000 or 200,000. Israel is in danger. But wait a minute, you are the ones launching the missiles. They say, oh, this hasn't happened since November 29th. So Israel bombed them a month ago. They keep on bombing them. Now they're going to have their reasons. They're going to say, oh, Hezbollah's bad guys, and in a lot of ways they are. And so, okay, but just leave us out of it. Are you going to ask for money for that war? Yes, you are, right? You're going to ask for billions of dollars from us to finance your wars, aren't you? They do every year, and it gets financed every year. You know, conservatives complain about foreign aid. Foreign aid to help starving kids they find to be unacceptable. Foreign aid to finance Israel's aggressive wars they find to be wonderful. That doesn't make any sense at all. So if Netanyahu and his right-wing government in Israel is willing to say now, we will never ask America for help on this, then you do whatever you like, and that war between Assad and you is your problem. But you're not gonna do that. This is meant to draw us back in. Netanyahu says, oh, you're withdrawing, I don't like that. So I'm gonna fix US policy, I'm gonna change US policy by aggressively bombing Syria, starting a conflict that I know will have blowback from my own citizens. And when my citizens are gonna gonna get hurt, I'm not gonna take personal responsibility for that, because no right-winger ever does. Instead, I'm gonna come crying to Daddy, who's Uncle Sam, and I'm gonna make you go back into Syria. We should say hell no to that. But knowing how Washington works, it'll work.
It will work. And just to give you an idea of how well it's worked in the past, under the Obama administration back in 2016, the US government signed on to a giant defense package for Israel. And that is an addition to the annual $3 billion that we give Israel in foreign aid, right? Mm-hmm. So look, this is I'm just giving you the facts about where US taxpayer money is going when it comes to these conflicts. And so, exacerbating this conflict in Syria and making the situation worse by launching these airstrikes, it's not gonna make the people of Israel any safer. It's gonna lead to more hostility, more attacks toward them. So Benjamin Netanyahu doesn't like Trump's decision to pull out of Syria. But again, we believe it was the right decision. We keep wasting our resources and intervening in wars that we shouldn't intervene in. And unfortunately, Netanyahu just wants to, I'm forgetting the word. What
instigate.
Not only
Provoke.
Instigate.
Draw us in.
Yeah, draw us in and take a situation. What is it called when cops are supposed to calm the situation down?
Escalate.
Escalate. That's the word that I was looking for. He wants to further escalate the conflict in Syria, and it's unnecessary.
Yeah, well, it's necessary for right-wingers because that's how they win elections. Netanyahu has a lot of political problems at home. He is terribly corrupt, and as most right-wingers are. But look at Donald Trump over here. He's trying to distract people, and if it turns out getting Israeli citizens killed, so what is what he thinks, because that's what the right wing always thinks. So what if I get US soldiers killed? So what if I get Israeli soldiers killed? So what if I get Israeli citizens killed? It's gonna improve my poll numbers. That's how right-wingers act all throughout the world. And then lastly, spare me your crocodile tears about allies. Oh, but Jake, you don't understand they're an ally. Yeah, there's a lot of allies we don't agree with. So Canada is a wonderful ally, but they are now supporting pipelines that take out some of the worst fossil fuel on the planet, and eventually, obviously, we'll put it into the air and lead to a lot more carbon emissions. So Canada's a great ally. I generally like their leader. I hate that decision. I'm allowed to say that I don't like the decision of our ally. Mm-hmm. That is a perfectly acceptable thing to say. So please, please spare me your really fragile, thin skin about, oh my God, it's Israel. No. You're never allowed to criticize them. Sad day for you. We are allowed to criticize them, especially their vicious right-wing government that has not helped their people at all all it has done is led to more wars. Finally, it's bad enough that we have our own unnecessary wars that we start. But we should not be fighting the unnecessary wars that other countries start, whether they're Turkey, Israel, Russia, or any other country.
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, definitely. Get the hell out of Yemen. Do not help the Saudis at all, okay? And we are consistent on that. Of course, right-wingers, as usual, with very few exceptions, all the rules go out the window immediately when it's Israel. And this is a naked attempt to draw us back into the war, disastrous war in Syria. Call it what it is.